Hello and thanks for checking out ChartGuys.com. We're proud to be one of the most successful technical analysis communities online, teaching you the skills to become a more confident, effective, and informed trader. Join our community of hundreds of analysts worldwide working together to learn the charts, generate profit, and achieve financial independence. For access to daily live chart analysis and market coverage, a thriving chat community, along with dozens of hours of exclusive educational materials. We look forward to seeing you. Let's check out some charts. Howdy MJ friends, happy 420. Fitting that I trade CGC for the first time in what feels like months on 420. Fond memories of high school, picking my buddy up at 4:20 a.m. on a school night to celebrate. So we had a lot of tight ranges, and over the weekend I was doing homework looking into laggard sectors, and I wanted to know if we see market weakness, who's going to drop to lower lows first? If we see market strength continue, who's going to be a laggard sector? We were looking at hotels, cruise liners, airliners, gaming and casinos, and the MJ sector had the same exact daily charts as some cruise lines, as some hotels. I found that very interesting. But bottom line is, over the weekend, did a member for videos, time to pay attention. Very tight range. Setup was there for the bulls. We had a great start to today, and then reality sets in. And it's what we're so used to. The bulls failing to follow through. The bears crushing our hopes and dreams. So CGC was a break of resistance. 1550, 1554, 1556. So how I played CGC this morning, I liked the initial morning strength. And I was watching it saying, don't break resistance without 5-minute consolidation. Don't break it. Because it would have been too extended. I wouldn't have liked an entry there. I wouldn't have entered. We set a 5-minute higher low. And I was watching SPY at the same time. There was definitely correlation to SPY. And as soon as we set this 5-minute higher low of 1526, I made a bullish entry in the 1530s and put my stop under that level. Because on the initial move up, why I did not like an entry is, where does my stop loss go? If I enter at 1510, where's my stop? My stop's all the way down under the low of the day. That's too much risk for me. So if I can get in a position where my risk is 10, 12 cents, that's the kind of position that I like to be in. That being said, we failed the high of the day. I stopped out. Now, a lot of newer traders, when they stop out of a position, that's it. They're done with the position. More experienced traders, they can stop out and jump right back in. If you're a newer trader and you try and do that, you can blow money very quickly by just, continuing to make the same mistake. But this was the kind of thing where I knew we were looking at daily resistance. I knew the S&P 500 was looking for a bounce. That being said, in the back of my mind, we knew the S&P 500 was looking for an hourly lower high on the bounce, and I was very aware of that as a potential afternoon scenario for potential broader market weakness in the afternoon. But as soon as we broke the 1550s resistance, I market bought in on this move, sold half the position over $16 because I did not have an ideal entry. At that point, my entry, let's say it was 15, I probably got filled with an average of 15.58 or so. At that point, my risk is 40 cents before I would stop out. Again, that's too high. But as soon as I sell half of my position over $16, my break even on the entire trade is roughly right around that level, 15.18 or so. So after I sold half, I then flipped a couple positions just for little 10-cent flips, just continuing to lower my cost basis. And in the end, I was left with a half a position with a break even around $15 or so. So it was just fine, healthy consolidation, tightening 15-minute range, no red flags. And then the S&P 500 gave us an hourly lower high. The reality and fear of the oil dump, check out the market video if you want to know about the oil dump, but that started to set into the broader market, and CGC started to dump. I bailed on my entire CGC position in the 1540 range, I believe, 1540s. And ended up with a profitable trade, but I wanted to swing trade it. I wanted for an hourly higher low to form into the mid $15 range, and then to close up near the high of the day, trying to see the continuation. The other reason I was cautious and skeptical of bulls, because 1634 did not break. Sure, it was great. We broke short-term resistance. We did not break the level, the top of the bounce, 1634. Hourly time frame is still in an uptrend, but with the size of this pullback, I would just be looking for an hourly lower high compared to 1615. A little bit of a bounce after hours. So bulls would have to break 1615 and 1634 tomorrow to keep this move going, one more point that stood out to me. I was looking at volume. How does volume compare? Second highest first hour of volume out of last week, so not huge, but I saw options. I looked at the options, and there were 2,400 share or 2,400 contracts traded today for $16 calls expiring Friday, and that was like 900% more than the highest puts volume for this week. So I saw some options activity, and that was another reason why I was looking bullish. Cron, same thing. Bull break over 618, 19, and 23. Great job. We didn't break 665, the most important level. Hourly chart still in an uptrend, but on this bounce, I would just be looking for an hourly lower high compared to 649. APHA, bearish and weak and a laggard all day. Still a hangover from the earnings reaction. 339 support broke, and we have not found a daily higher low yet. Anything above 279 is a daily higher low, but we have to see an hourly trend change back to the bulls, and they failed to pull that off today. ACB has been much weaker. I was not interested in ACB because it was not a tightening daily range. Yes, we're holding 60 cents, but anything under 93 is just a daily lower high. TLRY broke short-term resistance, but again, little follow-through. 755 did not break, and nowhere near 1060, the high of the initial bounce. OGI, short-term resistance broke, but anything under 194 is a daily lower high. Hexo, who cares? VFF had a nice bull break over 304. So we do have a little higher low and higher high. VFF is giving us a weekly, nope, not clear enough for a weekly higher low, but we did at least shift short-term momentum. Anything above 261 will be a daily higher low. Most important resistance is 379 from here. So out of the Canadian MJ names, I guess we got two more. Labs, also nice daily continuation. Weekly chart on Labs is a higher low. So low of the dump, high of the bounce of 241, higher low is 144. Anything under 241 is just a weekly lower high, but it's a tightening range to be watching. And VLNS, double top at 260 and 261, break of 207 support. It too is looking for a weekly higher low. Low of the dump, high of the bounce 261, and looking for a weekly higher low compared to 175. So, out of these names that I care about, VLNS and Labs, because of their weekly higher lows, have some interest. Cron and CGC, because of their sideways tight range and proximity to breaking the high of the bounce in total. APHA, I definitely am looking for a daily higher low, but I'm not interested in it. And that's about it. Those four names are who I would be watching in the Canadian MJ space. USMJ, trimming the list big time. Curaleaf, tight range, bull break. Absolutely getting over 558 was a good sign. Now we have to break 630 for follow through. Hourly, higher low, but more pullback than the bulls would like to see, and lacking a strong close. TRUL, daily higher low since the earnings reaction has now been set. Worst case for bulls, failed to break 1442 and break 1224. That would then enter a daily downtrend, and weekly consolidation would continue. If, however, we head back to 1442, that's going to be a weekly bull flag. All about 1442 resistance. C-Web, sideways. Anything under 645, I would say the bulls failed to get any follow through, but they too are watching for a little weekly higher low to form. And GTII, sideways. Need to break 858 make it. Need to break 858 for a short-term bull break. 930 is the level. So I'm interested in the high of the initial bounce for everybody. And nobody has broken that high yet at this point, at least on this list. There's a whole bunch of weaker names that I left off here in the US side of things. Should have left Hexo off. Should have left ACB off. So just checking in on things. Small gains, hoping for bigger gains, but lack of follow through, bad timing. And at this point, there are some weekly trend change attempts setting up, but we know we're looking for a weekly lower high in the S&P 500, and the sector is not positioned well for that. If we see continued dumbfounding strength on this market bounce, and SPY goes up to 300, it's possible, anything's possible. If that were to happen, then the sector would be well positioned to be a laggard and break the highs of its initial bounce. If, however, we fail to see the S&P 500 continue its bounce and we do top out, we will be looking back down towards our lows in this sector. So not falling asleep on the sector, but a bit of the same old, same old. We'll check back in the near term. Hope you have a good 420. So all this green aquatic plant that looks like a carpet is an invasive species called Parrot Feather. So I ordered some waders, and it's going to be an interesting task to try and pull that up. And I'll just compost it and use it in the garden beds next year, because there's a whole bunch of plant material that's going to come out. This side's not as bad. Probably focus on this side, but it just strangles everything out, and the frogs can't get to the sides of the pond, and the ducks can't swim in here, so I'm going to put on some waders and dig up plants and muck for a few days. So I made an observation about the incredible design of the Parrot Feather while I was pulling it out. But the way the leaves are designed by nature is as they go under the water, they trap air and it pulls them back to the surface when they go underwater. So you can see there how the leaves are forming a little air pocket. And it comes right back to the surface, and when it goes under, traps the air, pulls the little air bubbles in the leaves, and rises to the top. Pretty impressive by Mother Nature.